Starbucks holds nearly $2 billion in prepaid customer cash, more than 85% of American banks, without paying a cent in interest or following banking rules. Every year, over $200 million of that balance simply vanishes into corporate profits because tiny forgotten gift card leftovers and dormant app balances go unused. Beneath every latte is a financial machine hiding in plain sight. How did a coffee chain become America's most convenient bank without anyone noticing? A Starbucks customer's journey often starts with a simple decision: download the app, set up an account, and load it with $25 or $50. This prepaid balance sits there, ready for morning lattes or an afternoon snack. Each purchase earns stars, promising free drinks down the line. But the real story begins after that first transaction. Most people don't spend their balance to the last penny. Maybe it is $1.25 left over, or 80 cents, too little for a full drink, not worth the hassle of reloading. That small leftover, multiplied across millions of users, adds up to a massive reservoir of idle cash. Starbucks' system banks on this behavior. The app encourages larger loads with bonus stars and special offers, making it easy to round up, but not so easy to drain every cent. As balances dwindle, the psychological barrier grows. Few customers want to fuss over a tiny remaining sum, so it lingers, forgotten. Starbucks quietly benefits from these abandoned scraps. In 2024 alone, the company recognized $207.6 million in breakage revenue, money from gift cards and app balances that customers never redeemed. Over the last 5 years, nearly $900 million has flowed from unspent balances into Starbucks' bottom line. This isn't just a technical detail. Every dollar left behind represents real cash handed over in advance, with no coffee or pastry ever claimed. For the average person, it's the digital equivalent of leaving coins under the couch cushion. For Starbucks, it's a steady stream of pure profit, collected one small oversight at a time. The effect is subtle but powerful. Customers act as unpaid lenders, providing interest-free capital with each tap of the app. Most never think twice about it, but the numbers show just how much those tiny, forgotten balances matter. Through this everyday habit, millions of ordinary people help fund a financial engine most never see. The rewards feel personal, but the system quietly turns collective forgetfulness into a corporate windfall. Starbucks has woven this dynamic into the fabric of its business, transforming daily coffee runs into a hidden source of financial strength. In 2016, Starbucks' balance sheet showed $1.2 billion in prepaid customer funds, more than the assets held by banks like Customers Bank or Green Dot at the time. This was not a quirk of accounting, but the result of a deliberate strategy. The company moved beyond simple loyalty programs, treating stored value as a financial resource. Every time a customer loaded cash onto a Starbucks card or the app, that money became part of a vast pool, available for Starbucks to use immediately. Unlike a traditional bank, Starbucks did not have to pay interest or offer deposit insurance. Customers handed over their cash and received only the promise of coffee in return, while Starbucks gained access to a zero-cost loan. Under U.S. accounting rules, each new dollar loaded onto a Starbucks card is logged as a liability, money owed to the customer. But as time passes and historical data shows some balances are unlikely to be redeemed, Starbucks can reclassify portions of that liability as revenue. The process is invisible to customers. Accountants move numbers from one column to another, first a debit to the stored value liability, then a credit to breakage revenue. With a few keystrokes, money that once belonged to millions of customers becomes corporate income. This system gives Starbucks a unique treasury advantage. The float, the period between when customers load funds and when they actually spend them, can last weeks, months, or even years. During that time, Starbucks can use the cash for daily operations, expansion, or short-term investments. In a world where most companies pay to borrow, Starbucks gets paid up front and faces no obligation to return the money unless a customer decides to spend it. The result is a permanent, interest-free working capital line, renewed every day by millions of small transactions. The scale of this financial engine has only grown. From one point, $2 billion in 2016, the stored value float climbed to nearly $1.9 billion by 2024. The company's ability to turn customer loyalty into a source of capital has become central to its business model. Yet while banks must comply with strict regulations, Starbucks operates in a regulatory gray area. The company reports its float as a liability, but the economic reality is more complex. Starbucks has mastered the art of turning everyday purchases into a hidden financial asset, reshaping the boundaries between retail and finance without ever calling itself a bank. Starbucks' ability to operate as a financial powerhouse depends on a critical regulatory gap. Unlike banks, Starbucks does not have to provide FDIC insurance on customer balances, nor does it pay interest on the nearly $1.9 billion in prepaid funds it holds at any given time. There are no reserve requirements, no capital ratios, and limited disclosure rules. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has flagged the risks of this system, noting that customers who load money onto a retailer app have none of the protections they would expect from a traditional bank. If Starbucks were a bank, every dollar of customer money would be insured up to $250,000, and the company would be required to explain exactly how funds are managed and protected. This policy vacuum has drawn growing scrutiny. In 2024, a class action lawsuit landed in federal court, alleging that Starbucks' payment platform is a rigged system designed to maximize breakage and quietly convert customer cash into corporate revenue. The plaintiffs demand nearly $900 million, reflecting the cumulative breakage Starbucks has recognized as profit over the past 5 years. Their counsel argues that the app design and lack of transparency leave consumers in the dark about how much value they are really giving up. Legal observers point out that while Starbucks follows the letter of existing gift card laws, the scale and structure of its rewards program raise new questions about consumer protection and financial fairness. Former FDIC chair Sheila Bair and law professor Adam Levitin have both called attention to this loophole. A retailer holding billions in customer funds outside the rules that govern actual banks creates a clear risk for ordinary customers. For regulators, the question is no longer academic. As Starbucks' financial footprint grows, so does the risk of leaving this much money outside the safety net. The lawsuit signals that the era of quiet regulatory arbitrage may be coming to an end. A pool of nearly $2 billion sits inside Starbucks' digital vault, built from millions of tiny leftovers, often just $2 or $5 per person. For customers, these balances are out of sight and out of mind. For workers, the effects are impossible to ignore. In November 2025, baristas in at least 65 stores across dozens of cities walked off the job, launching open-ended strikes on Red Cup Day. Their demands are simple: living wages, predictable schedules, and safe staffing levels. Yet after 4 years and more than 500 unionized stores, Starbucks and its workers remain locked in a stalemate, with no comprehensive agreement in sight. As the cash pile grows quietly in the background, the human cost moves front and center. Picket lines stretch outside stores, signs call for fairness, and union leaders point to the company's financial windfall from breakage and unspent prepaid balances. They ask how a company that claims nearly $900 million in unspent customer money as revenue can plead poverty at the bargaining table. The tension is impossible to ignore, since Starbucks books $207 million a year in breakage, while many baristas still scramble for enough hours to pay rent. The disconnect grows sharper as Starbucks announces a $1 billion restructuring plan. Over 400 stores are slated for closure, and 900 corporate employees face layoffs. For those on the front lines, the message stings. Customers' forgotten dollars cushion the company's finances, but workers bear the brunt of cost-cutting. The numbers on the balance sheet become real lives: jobs lost, shifts cut, and futures made uncertain. In the shadow of a financial system built on everyday habits, it is the people behind the counter who feel the impact most. Starbucks now holds more customer cash than most American banks, and it does so without the oversight or obligation to give anything back. As billions quietly accumulate, the line between coffee shop and financial power grows thinner. The real cost is invisible, and it is paid by everyone who trusts a familiar brand with their money. What is your take?